What would happen if you took no game, no life style mechanics, but thrown onto a Duelist kingdom from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters? Well, the end result would be something very similar to what Liar Liar episodes 1 and 2 just delivered. So, it dropped episode 1 and 2 today, and I've been cautiously optimistic about this one, and at this point, this is probably the closest thing we're getting to a No Game, No Life Season 2. But I think the thing that really surprised me about this one is how funny and charming it was, surrounded by all the BS, because this show, Liar Liar, that title is perfect for this, because this is an entire series built around the biggest lies, and I have to admit, the mechanics to this whole school setting is actually pretty damn interesting, especially with this whole, legendary star that lets you do any lie you want, so our main character, being a nobody, accidentally wins against someone who's also kind of lying, ends up getting a star, and his lie is that I'm rank 7. And honestly, the BS that follows is really, really fun. I wasn't expecting to come out of this one liking it as much as I am. I was expecting to enjoy it. But after watching 2 episodes and seeing the way they handled duels, the 2 we got were a staring contest and a race, and in a very no game, no life style fashion, they became very fun and exciting to follow, especially given how our seemingly nobody MC was able to navigate the BS with a lot of cheating, a lot of help, but most importantly, a lot of luck. Now, full live reaction to both episodes 1 and 2 are available on my Patreon if you would like to see my live reactions as I watched today's wonderful episode. It was a very pleasant surprise, and I really think that is the best way to sum the show up. It's Duelist Kingdom with no game, no lifestyle mechanics, because the betting of star chips and just the ridiculous way this school goes about things, the thing that really helps this is that while it's a very fun atmosphere, and there's some comedy that are just it blasts in your face as hard as the sprinklers blasted this tsundere, who honestly kind of reminded me of Taiga from Toradora, not gonna lie. But the thing that was nice is how much the BS and lies are ingrained into this. So the idea that basically if you have a 7-star person at your school or at your area, right? Yeah, you're gonna be ranked rather high. And I love the idea that there's only maybe 14 or 15 of these red stars potentially out there, and the idea that the girl who he ends up dueling, because she's under the assumption that basically he was trying to troll her, to ruin her, sabotage her, got her blasted by the sprinklers, and the fact that it happened to her twice is pretty damn hilarious. Once he gets that star, we learn that she is actually a fake, basically trying to fill in for the void of the real Empress who got kidnapped a year back or so, and basically she used that star in order to lie, and we see how she ended up where she is. The cool thing about the mechanics is how they continue to flesh it out. So the idea of getting one lie that has to be believed. So in the case of our boy, after getting it, he can say he is a 7-star and people will believe that because ultimately that's how it will read. But I like the fact that if you possess that star, you get the history of everyone who had it before you. So you can see every lie that the previous person or persons have had. And I think it's a little nice extra bell and whistle that, continue to, over the course of an episode, or 2 episodes that is, easily could have just been dumb fun, but I kept saying, actually the mechanics to this feel pretty well thought out. Even the staring contest, one of my favorite things when watching a show like No Game No Life was just the way such basic activities could be fun, exciting games, and that's exactly what they did with the staring contest. The idea of this facial recognition, any sort of moves, and you basically have a set amount of time for each player in order to try to make them react. So she basically has a lightsaber trying to stab him, and when she gets blasted by the sprinklers once again, she gets so shocked that she ultimately loses. He had no skills, he didn't even know what the skills were. But it's like a video game where you have different mechanics that you can add per game, and the second one is obviously the best one in my opinion, because it's a race. He's just standing there looking like a cool badass, but internally he's freaking out and he knows jack shit. And I think that's a really fun character to follow, because his intro is basically slapping his dong on the table saying, if you want to challenge me, go ahead, but I'm gonna crush you peasants. And then a second later, he's curled up crying from cringe. So he has to put on this very brave, prideful face, but internally, he's just some soft boy who doesn't know what the hell's going on, but he's looking for someone. And honestly, that back and forth is a really fun dynamic, especially given that the girl who he ends up screwing over gets in on the lie because she has her own lies, and honestly, it's a fun back and forth. But when you get to that track and field event where she pulls out a goddamn motorcycle, and of course she's like, oh, I got all these buffs, because he has no skill, he's they literally explain it as imagine fighting the bosses at level 1, because he's a 7-star at face value, but with no experience, no skills, no abilities that will help him. So what they do is they stack the same ability a few times, one that a lot of people don't know and wouldn't think to utilize, and the idea that as he's casually walking after flipping her motorcycle, she lands on a big sporting pad, he goes over what his 3 abilities are, complete BS, as he casually, with confidence, walks to the finish line being like, deal with it. And honestly, you have to admit, the VA for this man is doing a remarkable job because it sounds like 2 different voice actors. You have the confident, arrogant, you wouldn't even consider this dude humble, and then you have the, oh my god, what the hell's going on attitude, and it's really, really charming to watch this. Now, I've been paying attention to Liar Liar well before probably a lot of people. I bet a month and a half before a new season drops, I take a look at Live Turn and continue to, and try to figure out what looks like some good shows. And Liar Liar, premise-wise, intrigued me, but the poster image and the trailers, they didn't look that good. Like, it just felt like a very low-budget style anime. And honestly, I have to say, they just didn't market this one visually well enough, because I do like the character models, I like the thick outlines on the background characters, but most importantly, it has a style to it that makes it these kind of like games pop, because they have like a lot of holograms, they have a lot of fun visual flares, and in over 2 episodes, I feel like it had a style that it worked with, and it really didn't dip visually. And I have to say, like, it's one of the rare cases where I was like, oh, you know what, it's probably not going to move that much, it's probably not going to be that much visual flair just based on the trailers, the poster image just looks almost AI generated. But this one actually turned out visually pretty damn solid, and I like the cast, I like how fun it is, I like how it doesn't try to shy away from the silliness, but then when it gets serious with the world building or the mechanics to the situation, it's really, really charming. And yeah, I have to say, Duel Monsters with Duelist Kingdom meets No Game, No Lifestyle mechanics turned out really, really solid. And if this is the closest thing I'm getting to a season 2 of No Game, No Life, you know what, whatever, I'm fine with that, because this is fun. I wish we had more styles like this, because anytime you kind of have like duels at classes or like places, they don't feel as over the top as I kind of wish they were, and that's kind of what the show did, and it did a really good job with. So personally, in my opinion, should you watch this one? Absolutely. I think this will be a great Saturday watch. We'll have episode 3 next week, and I'm excited to see where this 12-episode anime will go overall, because I have to say, I walked in thinking it might be fun, might be okay, to leaving saying this is actually one of my more anticipated episodes for the next anime week, and that's how you hook in a viewer right there. But let me know what you thought of either episodes 1, 2, or both down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel, and as I mentioned, we do have a full live reaction to both of these episodes available on my Patreon, and hey, while you're there, you can also get a video shout out. So today, we have Jedmons 9173, Monsi 7, Kevin Bars, and Durhosh. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.